Your brain is Marie Kondoing itself right now, and the clutter it's tossing? Brain cells. Surprise! Your 20s aren't just about questionable decisions and student debt. They're also when your brain starts deleting itself. Not in a scary dementia way, but in a spring cleaning for cognitive efficiency way. Around age 20, your brain hits peak mass and then immediately goes, nah, this is too much, and starts pruning. We're talking about synaptic pruning, the process where your brain systematically eliminates neural connections it doesn't need. Think of it as your brain unfollowing 10,000 people on social media to actually see posts from friends you care about. Except instead of Instagram followers, it's literally cutting away chunks of itself. Your brain peaked in your teens with about 86 billion neurons and a ridiculous number of synaptic connections. By your mid-20s, it's slashing those connections by up to 50%. And here's the twist. This makes you smarter. Your teenage brain was like a hoarder's attic, packed with every possible neural pathway for every possible skill. Your 20-something brain? A minimalist loft with only the furniture you actually use. What's actually happening? Let's get technical for a hot second. Synaptic pruning is your brain's quality over quantity strategy. Every connection between neurons is called a synapse. When you're born, you've got a decent amount. By age 3, your brain goes absolutely nuts and creates way more than you'll ever need. It's overproducing connections like a factory that doesn't know when to quit. This overproduction peaks during childhood, giving you the ability to learn languages stupidly fast and absorb information like a sponge made of other sponges. But there's a problem. Too many connections means too much noise. Your brain can't efficiently route signals when there are 47 different paths to the same destination. So, around puberty and ramping up through your 20s, your brain starts cutting. It keeps the synapses you use frequently and eliminates the ones collecting dust. Use it or lose it, but for brain cells, the process is guided by a protein called complement C1q, which tags weak synapses for destruction. Then microglia, your brain's cleanup crew, comes through and eats the tagged connections. Yes, your brain has cells whose entire job is to devour other brain cells. Metal. Gray matter meltdown. Your gray matter is shrinking, and that's actually good news. Gray matter is the outer layer of your brain where neuron cell bodies hang out. It's responsible for processing information, and it's been growing since you were a fetus. By your early 20s, it starts thinning. Not everywhere at once, though. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and not texting your ex, is one of the last areas to finish developing. It doesn't fully mature until around age 25. Before that, it's still pruning away excess connections, which is why 9-year-olds make choices that 9-year-olds look back on and cringe. As gray matter thins, the remaining neurons become more specialized and efficient. The connections that survive are stronger and faster. Think of it like going from a cluttered highway with 12 lanes but constant traffic jams to a sleek 4-lane expressway where everyone's actually moving. Your brain is trading volume for velocity. Studies using MRI scans show that gray matter volume decreases by about 0.5% per year after age 20. That sounds terrifying until you realize it correlates with improved executive function, better emotional regulation, and the ability to not impulse buy a ferret at 2 a.m. White matter wins. While gray matter is shrinking, white matter is having its moment. White matter is made up of myelinated axons, the long cables that connect different brain regions. Myelin is a fatty substance that wraps around these axons like insulation on electrical wires. The more myelin, the faster signals travel. Throughout your 20s, your brain is laying down more myelin, especially in the frontal lobes. This process, called myelination, continues into your 30s and even 40s in some regions. It's why you get better at complex tasks that require coordination between different brain areas. Playing an instrument, driving while having a conversation, or cooking dinner while listening to a podcast all benefit from increased white matter connectivity. Here's the cool part. Myelination speed is influenced by experience. The more you practice something, the more myelin your brain wraps around the neural pathways involved in that skill. This is why musicians who started young have thicker white matter in areas related to motor control and auditory processing. Your brain is literally building faster highways for the routes you travel most. By your late 20s, the ratio of white matter to gray matter has shifted significantly. You've got fewer neurons but way better connections between the ones that remain. It's a networking upgrade. Faster signal speed. Let's talk numbers. In an unmyelinated neuron, signals travel at about 2 meters per second. Wrap that baby in myelin, and suddenly, you're hitting 100 meters per second. That's a 50x speed boost. This matters more than you'd think. Every thought, movement, and sensation involves electrical signals zipping through neural circuits. The faster those signals travel, the quicker you can process information and respond. This is why reaction times improve through your 20s despite having fewer neurons. Your brain isn't working harder, it's working smarter. The pruning process also reduces the number of decision points a signal has to navigate. Fewer synapses mean fewer chances for signals to get lost or delayed. It's like simplifying a maze by removing dead ends. The result? Faster processing speeds, better multitasking, and improved ability to focus. Cognitive tasks that felt overwhelming at 18 start feeling manageable at 25, not because you got more brain cells, but because you got better wiring. Your brain pruned away the static and turned up the signal. Studies show that processing speed peaks in your 20s and stays relatively stable until your 50s. After that, things start slowing down, but that's a problem for future you. When pruning goes wrong, sometimes the brain's pruning algorithm glitches. Schizophrenia, for instance, is linked to excessive synaptic pruning during adolescence and early adulthood. The brain cuts away too many connections, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, leading to the cognitive and emotional symptoms of the disorder. Researchers have found that people with schizophrenia have elevated levels of complement C1q, the protein that tags synapses for deletion. Their brains are in overdrive, pruning more aggressively than they should. This results in reduced gray matter volume and impaired connectivity between brain regions. On the flip side, conditions like autism spectrum disorder may involve insufficient pruning. Studies suggest that autistic brains retain more synaptic connections than neurotypical brains, which could explain the sensory overload and difficulty filtering irrelevant information. Too much pruning, not enough pruning, both can cause problems. The brain needs to hit a Goldilocks zone. Most of us land somewhere in the middle, but genetics, environment, and sheer luck all play a role in how precisely our brains calibrate their pruning schedules. Sleep's secret role. Here's where sleep becomes crucial. Your brain does most of its pruning while you're unconscious. During deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flushes through your brain, clearing out metabolic waste and tagged synapses. Miss out on sleep, and your brain can't properly clean house. Chronic sleep deprivation in your 20s doesn't just make you tired, it disrupts synaptic pruning, leaving your brain cluttered with weak connections it should have deleted. Studies show that people who consistently sleep less than 7 hours a night have slower cognitive processing and reduced gray matter volume compared to those who get adequate rest. Your brain literally needs you to pass out for 8 hours so it can take out the neural trash. Pull too many all-nighters, and you're sabotaging the very process that's supposed to make you sharper. Sleep also affects myelination. Growth hormone, which promotes myelin production, is released primarily during deep sleep. Skimp on sleep, and you're slowing down the white matter upgrades your brain is trying to install. This isn't about productivity hacks or wellness trends, it's basic neurobiology. Your brain has a maintenance schedule, and sleep is when it runs updates. Lifestyle impacts pruning. What you do in your 20s affects how your brain prunes itself. Exercise promotes the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, a protein that supports neuron survival and encourages the growth of new connections. Regular physical activity doesn't stop pruning, but it helps your brain keep the right synapses and build new ones where needed. Stress, on the other hand, can screw everything up. Chronic stress floods your brain with cortisol, which can accelerate pruning in areas like the hippocampus while impairing it in the prefrontal cortex. Translation: too much stress makes you worse at learning and emotional regulation. Diet matters too. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish and flax seeds, are crucial for myelin production. B vitamins support neurotransmitter synthesis. Your brain is literally made of what you eat, and if you're living on instant ramen and energy drinks, you're giving your neural renovation crew subpar materials. Alcohol? It's neurotoxic. Heavy drinking in your 20s can interfere with both pruning and myelination, potentially stunting the cognitive gains you're supposed to be making. One night of binge drinking won't ruin you, but making it a habit can leave you with a less efficient brain by your 30s. The counterintuitive truth. The entire concept of brain pruning feels wrong at first. We're conditioned to think more is better. More muscle, more money, more brain cells. Obviously that's good, right? Except your brain is playing 4D chess while you're stuck on checkers. It figured out millennia ago that efficiency beats size. A leaner, more connected brain outperforms a bloated one every single time. This is why you don't peak intellectually at 18 when your brain is at maximum mass. You peak in your 20s and 30s, when the pruning is done and the myelination is hitting its stride. Your cognitive abilities improve as your brain shrinks. Wild. It's also why trying to save every neuron is a fool's errand. You don't need all those connections. You need the right connections. Your brain knows this, which is why it's systematically deleting itself without asking your permission. The next time someone tells you that you're losing brain cells, you can smile and say, "Yeah, and it's making me smarter," because that's exactly what's happening. Your brain is trimming the fat, optimizing the wiring, and turning you into a faster, sharper version of yourself. So yeah, your 20s are less figuring out your life and more, watching your brain delete itself on purpose. And honestly, it's kind of beautiful. In a weird, slightly disturbing, definitely not what you expected sort of way. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go take a nap so my brain can continue its scheduled demolition. Cleanup crews got work to do.